Good afternoon, ladybugs and yellow jackets. So welcome to the very first episode of Handmade Home Shopping here in 2021 on Faye Productions. I am your host, Fairy Princess Lolly, and thank you so much for being with us here today. Because it's the first show of the year, where we will be having a bit of a shorter episode since people are still kind of getting back into the swing of things from the holidays, myself included. So nevertheless, we're here to do this with you. And let me get our first things first out of the way. Please, if you will, like and subscribe and buzz the bell. I've decided this year I'm actually going to do different adjectives. I talked about it so much last year, but so yes, please do that for us. And then also, I would like to give a shout out to today's show sponsor, which is Manifest Magical Pendants. And these are beautiful jewelry pieces that are skillfully created by Samantha. She is the artist at hand, if you will, and who hand sculpts. See what I did there? Haha. A variety of clay and crystal pendants, which each take on their own unique artistic form around the gems with which she works, and she travels all around to get those. So it's pretty cool. They can come from very far away, and she uses things like lapis lazuli, quartz, selenite, tiger's eye, a bunch of your very popular gemstones out there. Please check out her work. You can find her best at her Instagram, and the links for that are in the low bar, and they're also in the ticker. Please go give her, if you see something that you like, just shoot her a message on Instagram, and that is where you can probably get a hold of her and work out how to arrange that. So with that said, that brings us here to our very first vendor of the day, which is Joshua. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, and so Bowskin is the name of your business, yes?
Correct.
All right, I've got that down. And so please, if you will, introduce yourself to our audience. Tell them who you are and where you're from, what you do, and also give a shout out to any of your home fairs, shows, peeps, whatever it may be. Mom.
Well, I think she's watching, so hi, Mom. Yeah, I've been a longtime archer and, or rather, a bowyer in Tanner. I'm not so great at archery myself, fair to decent, but I spend more time actually making all the products than I do get to play with them. So I've always got a nice thick film of sawdust covering me at any part of the day. But I've been involved with making bows ever since I was a little kid. There's a bunch of funny stories I used to tell that I won't eat up your time with about it, but if anyone wants to hear, they could always hit me up. My business is bowskin.com if anyone wants to see all of my wares. I only got to bring a small fraction of what I actually have on my website and what I offer at the festivals. The festivals I do and have done and hopefully will in the future have been the Ohio Renaissance Festival, the Great Lakes Medieval Fair,
Oh, okay, so
out
you're in
local.
the middle of the United
I'm
States.
I'm slap dab in the middle of where we can't decide if it's going to rain or snow or be sunny and green outside.
What's it doing right now?
A little of both. Right now it's just rain. The rain has subsided a little bit, but wait 5 minutes.
I want more snow. That's what we always say here too. I want more snow because basically nobody can really go anywhere, so it's the perfect time to not have to worry about driving. So snow, but of course not.
As long as the shop is warm and there's coffee in the pot, I really pretty much don't care what's going on outside because
Yeah.
we just don't outside. We don't have time to. We're always busy making all of our archery products all year long. We do longbows and recurves. Now we started doing some old school crossbows.
Well, I'm going to
We
turn the
also,
whole screen over to you here so we can see you. And yeah,
oh
by all
no,
means. Oh no.
there's all sorts of stuff. I do a lot of fantasy archery too. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. I don't have any of my sculpted uh, bows with me. This was like 5 minutes until show where we got to throw up something in the background down in the shop and start showing people some of the things that I actually do. But this is one of my more readily purchased bows. It's our Mirkwood Fire on our website. It has a lot of scrolling on there.
Can you hold
Yes,
that very close to the camera so that we can see? Because it
sure.
looks quite beautiful, actually. And
Let's see if I can.
move it very slowly. Yeah, there. And that's
I feel
all
like I should be playing some really nice music.
very white, you know.
Yeah,
So that's
there you
all
go.
hand painted on there.
Yes, everything I have, everything I sell, I make myself. I don't import. I don't do none of that nonsense. I don't pass off my bows or someone else's bows as my work. This is all my own work. We've got the tree of Gondor on this one here
Oh,
because it's fun to
that's
do,
cool
and
looking.
all sorts of other cool stuff. But it's not just the cool longbows. We have lots of fantasy and classical archery out there. We've got some good traditional bows for people who like English longbows. But for the
Hmm.
ones that just want to get out in the woods and actually hunt or target practice, we everyone asks, these are beautiful, but can you shoot them? Yes, please shoot them. I
Yep,
want you to shoot them. That way you
that's what
get
they're
to
there for.
really experience, oh, this is where my money went. But we do some really cool, nice risers on there, and they have arrow shelves. So for people that are upcoming and beginning archers out there, we have plenty of tips on how to select the correct bow for you so you don't get the wrong bow or get overbowed or get something that's too strong for you. And for those that are a little bit tired of archery, we've resurrected. I'm not the only one in the world that does this, but you might notice these really long arrows behind me that are
Uh-huh.
actually darts. These are called
Darn.
atlatls. These are archery's predecessor by at least 11,000 years. And I could go into a whole history lesson behind them
11,000?
as well. They are 6 foot long atlatl darts on top of an atlatl. This actually acts, the physics is akin to a dog ball thrower. It actually acts as an extension of your arm with a little spur that locks into a divot at the end here. So
I've
while
never
we
even seen it.
offer, right, and while we offer our main archery products, we offer other things that are really closely related to archery with the atlatls and the crossbows as well, whether it's going to be traditional, historical, or fantasy. Everything is made by myself in a tiny little one-car garage down in my basement. So my goal is hopefully this year we can manage to scrape up enough to get a bigger residence or somewhere to where we can start having more space to spread out, because a big guy in a tiny shop, it's just turning around and trying to make sure you can do everything you can do. And at the end of the day, we start looking around at all the products and we'll have like hundreds of bows and thousands of arrows everywhere. And where are
Well,
we going to put all this stuff?
so can I ask some questions related to what you were just holding up there? I'm not familiar with that word, so I'm having trouble. An
So
atlatl? How do you spell
it's
it?
spelt ATL atlatl. Yes, it's
ATLATL.
it is
Wait,
archery's predecessor, and it has been used worldwide. You can find many examples of this used in every continent at one point or another.
and so
There are different variations. This is the actual atlatl here.
real close. Bring it
It's
very close, if you will, and then again, once again, the camera has to have time to focus, so move slowly.
This is
So
a
this,
handheld extension. It's just a stick with a spur at the end of it, and this spur, if you look on the inside, let me get this into the camera here. Figure out where my camera is. It's got a little divot on the inside. So this
yes.
spur locks into the divot. And now I
Oh,
have my other hand free, so I can move this, put this down on the floor here, and I have absolute supreme control and power over my stick.
that is really cool.
It
I've never seen
it's
anything like that. I
fun.
super want to try it.
It
Yeah.
I've got a couple videos out there, either on the Facebook page, we for Boskin Archery, Instagram, Twitter, what else? Oh, I think we started doing TikTok too.
Oh boy.
Different, yeah. Well, you got to get your name out wherever you can and show everybody these really cool things we have. But I'm
Right.
trying to make it more than everyone's got a video out there where they do this or that. We want to do something extra, something that's helpful, something that we're not going to charge people a lot of money with, or any at all. We've got several how-to videos that are up there just for free. One of them is like with our horsebow kits,
Mm-hmm.
making the Mongolian horsebows are just like they're taking off really crazy. I know the Viking thing has taken off within the last 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
just like blew up crazy. And now the horse bows are going nuts too. So with that, we have our finished horse bows. You can go get other ones that are of lesser quality, but we've got our finished horse bows, stuff that I do myself. And plus, I also have it set up to where you can purchase a horse bow kit. And also on the website, whether you purchase the kit or not, it's right there, the instructions showing you how to assemble it, put it together from start to finish. So
that's cool. So people could do their own bow if they had the wherewithal to do it.
Correct. And the other part of the business, bow skin, is traditional tanning. And I did not bring any hides down with me either. Usually people associate my business just with archery, and archery is a big part of it, but we also do traditionally tanned skins, mainly brain tan buckskin and different types of robes. We are starting to play around a little bit with bark tan and vegetable tan, but just things using all natural materials, no crazy chemicals or anything, things that you can find in nature, harvest yourself. And usually all of our hides that come into us are ethically sourced, different types of roadkills out there, or hides that would have gone to a dumpster or whatnot.
Right. I'm looking up your Instagram and whatnot and putting it in the comments here for folks watching at home. I
appreciate that.
Yeah, you have some cool stuff here that I'm looking at. I'm curious, do you know approximately how much does that atlatl?
You got it. Atlatl, yes.
I want to say atlatl, sort of like an AT-AT, but an atlatl.
Well, we're not addled with our atlatls.
Right. It's all about where you put your emphasis. No, I'm curious, how far do you think that actually increases the range of a throw?
If I'm practicing, I'm okay with an atlatl myself. Practice, it's going to take up your whole day, and I'd rather make more bows and atlatls. But you're going to be able to get good if you practice at it. You should be able to get within a pie plate size at 30 yards. When you practice at it, you're going to have to fail a few.
Well, yeah, of
dozen
course.
Times. But when you get really, like with anything, practice really good about it. And that's when we talk to people, whether they're going to be getting an atlatl or a longbow, we want to make sure that people are definitely getting exactly what they need, and that they're going to get the proper fit instead of getting overbowed the first time, and then talk to them about aiming it along with their, well, how far does this bow go? Well, the bow will go very far. Its effective range is less than the further out that you're aiming. But primitive bows, they are what they are. They're good for target. They're still good for hunting. There's nothing different with them now than how they were thousands of years ago. They worked great for us then. That's why we're all here now. We were able to put meat on the table for our own different tribes and clans with these and various other hunting implements. So they're still.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, there's still a very effective weapon. It's just when people start out into archery, we have one of the more famous types that come into the booth. Our most common questions are, what's the heaviest bow you've got? What's your most expensive bow? And there was a third one. I can't even remember now. We wrote down a whole list of the frequently asked questions. But everyone wants to get started out in a 50 or 60-pound bow, especially if they're coming over from, like, say, compound archery. It's a whole different kettle of fish.
So they basically only want to shoot like 3 arrows before they're like, my arm is so tired.
Exactly. And that's the key to it. And I don't want people getting overbowed. Oh, yeah, here, I'll just sell you this big. Who cares? I'll take your money. Goodbye. See you later. Right. No, we want to make sure that you're going to be, if not buying a bow from us, buying the bow that you need from somewhere else. Having that knowledge that you need to move on, and then talk to them a little bit about, the different styles and types of aiming that they can go out there and practice more on their form and their technique first, and then move into, so they could have their own target bow, and then they could have their own hunting rig if they so choose to actually hunt. So I encourage everyone to start out in lower poundage bows, something with a little bit of resistance, but more than anything, just practice on shooting the bow correctly every time, and
Right?
then worry about hitting the bullseye later.
Well, and I want to ask you to hold that one because that one, it looks so beautiful. You had it out earlier. It looks like you've got purple heart there on the grip in the middle.
This one here is a purple heart. It's
Look at
it's a
that.
purple heart tip. You'll notice there's two grooves at the top. That's where
Yes,
we have our signature stringer. So that I don't have enough space to bend over in here and try stringing up a bow without causing a
right.
big mess. But I think I do have a few videos on the website that actually show stringing this up. I know we have a couple videos on the TikTok there that show the stringing of the bow. We have it's a loose loop style string, and what happens is on the other end where this is, another loop comes over the top of paracord, and then it comes down, follows the bow all the way to the other side, and then latches up to this top here to where you actually pull the bow up while you're stepping on the loose stringer, and it flexes the limbs both on either side, and then it allows you to safely and
Oh,
securely and quickly string up your bow into the first knock that you actually see right up inside here, the one lower down towards the bow here.
oh, nice. Okay,
This is done for
that's
safety.
cool.
It's done for ease. It's done for safety of you and the bow. And you did ask to catch a whole glimpse of here. This is a bamboo backed, trying not to get too much of the glare on here. It's a bamboo backed Osage orange. So underneath you'll see this
Mm,
very beautiful wood underneath here. Osage orange is a really cool wood. It's got a lot of rich history with bow ears.
yes, it does, as a matter of fact.
They call it the king of the bowwoods. At least that's what I've heard it called. It can also be quite troublesome as well. So depending on your level and skill. However, I use it with a bamboo backing, so I still try to choose a somewhat more premium grain, though there's no such thing as a straight growing tree, especially with Osage orange. It likes to follow something in the shape of an S rather, and just grows wherever it wants to grow with twists and all sorts. But when we incorporate different woods like a hickory backing or a bamboo backing, then we find out that it not only increases its strength, we can also use.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Where did he go? That was okay. So I'm not entirely sure what happened just there, but I'm going to guess technical difficulties. I would like to give him just a second to realize that something has happened. And so while we're giving him just a second, I wanted to show you guys. Oh, there he is. He's back already. Okay. Uh, let's see. Here we go. Hold on.
Talking.
Yep, there you are. You disappeared.
I must have talked too much.
Nah, no such thing.
So I think I got cut off right at the end when I was talking about how when we take two really good woods, like a
Yes.
bamboo, which is more of a grass, and marry it, bond it to an Osage tree or different types of woods, that it actually makes a superior shooting weapon. So what once was really cool with an Osage, we make it a little bit more cooler by adding a bamboo on there, and it actually increases the speed of the bow as well.
And
This
then
we get
how,
about,
go ahead. I think you were
we
about to
just
answer
get
the
more
question
of
I
an
was about to
increased
ask.
speed, like rather instead of one of our, like this here, this is a solid hickory bow. It's very beautiful. It's got all the nicey pretties on there, but
I
it's
do
still a solid hickory bow.
I do like the nicey pretties. So if you will, and by the way, the vendor that was supposed to be after you has not appeared in the backstage, so you have a little extra talkie time. So
Oh,
don't
okay.
worry about that. We're
Okay.
doing pretty good. The Tell me, what are the advantages and disadvantages, if they exist, about having a solid piece of wood for the bow versus the kind where you have put, use the bamboo backing or the hickory back? No, not, it wasn't hickory. Did you say it was?
Thank you for asking. There's a type of tool out there, and I'm sure I have quite a few floating around in the shop somewhere. And none are coming right out into my line of sight at the moment.
Of
And I'll
course not.
probably crash down half the stage. As far as old school bows, Uh, they would not all of them would be solid bows, but the ones that were solid, they would actually take a tree and split it out. If you were to take, just happen to have a little tiny piece of cherry, and if I had a pencil, the most important tool in the shop, but I can never find it. But if we have like a little tiny, up in here's the camera here.
Yep.
So we'll see where the rings come all the way down inside, different types of rings. We actually go to split the wood in half and split it again.
Okay.
And we will actually take wood out from the inside of the tree and thin it down to the profile of a bow. Depending on the species, sometimes we'll take off the sapwood of the tree or leave it alone. For examples for where we leave it alone is on our famous yew bows, like the English longbows. Many of them, not all, but many were actually made out of yew. I think I have a yew back here as well. This one is not a yew with the sapwood on it. It's just got the yew on the front, and it's got a nice little deep, rich golden brown to the wood itself. Not to get too far off track, with the yew bows, they would actually leave the heartwood and the sapwood on. It gets down to talking about physics. Basically, the sapwood acts as real tension strong wood, and the heartwood is very compression strong. So you've got two different forces acting together. If I was to cut this bow in half right here and flip it up, and then we'd see on the top here where there's the back side, the part that faces towards the target, that is in extreme tension, or technical terms, it's really bendy. And the stuff underneath that faces towards you, it's in compression, or technical terms, it's really pushy. So we want to make sure that we have, yes, I said push. We want to make sure that we have forces that agree with each other on the pushing and the pulling apart. So when it's bending and it's compressing down on the bottom, we want to make sure that that wood that we have selected is good on both properties there in a solid bow. Hickory, just in the sapwood itself, does great on both sides. Hickory, we found we can bend many rules with, and a lot of bow makers out there can either take it as a simple stave from a tree and split it down, or with some careful selection, they can go through and find stuff that have rings violated through them and build themselves a decent bow. I'm oversimplifying it, though. There are some things in there that you have to be looking out for, and anyone that wants to get started making bows for their first time, give me a shout. I'll help you out, even if you're not buying anything from me. Sorry about all the hand thing. I'm Italian. If you tie my hands together, I can't talk very well. So you'll have some bows that are actually solid wood, some that are two pieces of wood. And then you have a third type of ancient bow. It's what they call a composite. And it will be a wooden core with a back. Remember, that's the part that faces towards the target, is actually made out of animal tendon. And it's secured down with different types of what they call hide glue or sinew glue or fish glue.
Fish glue.
Fish glue. It's a very specific type of fish. It's prepared a very specific way. We're trying to maximize the most collagen that we can leach out of there to get it to bind into the fibers.
Huh. Okay, so can I ask a couple questions? If somebody wanted a design of their own onto one of the bows, are you able to do that, to customize it? If they picked one out that was blank, and then could you customize a painted design on it for them?
Absolutely. I do many different types of customs. We have a wide selection on the website, and some people want to take one design and put it over with another. One of my customers wanted a very specific theme to go with theirs. It had to do with different types of wolves and whatnot, but it was related to one of the first fantasy bows on there. You'll see on the main page there is the bow of the Galadriel. It's the one that Legolas had shot with all that nice sculpting up on the overlay sculpting on the top there.
I can pull up your Instagram. Is it here on your Instagram?
It would probably be in there somewhere. It would be a lot of going down through the list. I'm sure it would find it eventually. It's a white recurve with white sculpting on top of it.
White.
And there it is right there. So this bow right here, the customer had actually chosen to get a bow like this, but wanted it themed with wolves on it and different types of paws. And prints and just different icons and artwork on it. They didn't get very specific with it. They let me have a lot of free artistic license, which was really cool. So, like the biggest problem with most things that you have too many options with, you have to sit there and go, geez, am I going to do it like this or am I going to do it like this? And you want to do a lot of mock-ups. But
Oh my gosh, these are
no,
so beautiful.
thank you. I definitely do and have done a lot of different customs out there. Once in a while, we'll get some people that have watched or played a certain video game out there and want bows a certain way. There was a couple of bows from this video game called Dragon Age that this person had contacted me about and wanted me to do. We've had a couple requests for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They wanted a couple different bows out of there that Link was shooting. It just depends.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question about this leather?
Sure. Yes.
So you get this leather. Did you dye it yourself?
No, this is the last time that we were using other people's leathers tanned here in the States.
Oh, gotcha.
We are now moving forward to using our own leathers that we are tanning. The biggest holdback with wanting to go is at least a little bit bigger is the amount of space we have out here.
Right.
It's kind of hard to have a wood shop and a hide shop with itty bitty living space.
You're not a genie in a lamp, alas. Look at these, man. This looks like Bacote here.
It is.
And is this like maybe Paduke right here, this orange one? Or
Bloodwood.
Bloodwood. Oh, okay.
But good eye there, yep.
Yeah, these are, oh my gosh, so beautiful. I'm just...
Oh, they're fun. We started playing with canary wood too, and canary wood just can never decide what theme it wants to be. Does it want to be red, orange, blue, yellow?
Yeah.
It doesn't know. It just changes its mind. Sometimes it's everything all in one, and we figure, hey, that goes really nice inside of a little bow handle there.
These are just so beautiful, and I mean, they really, you just have incredible work. All right, well, holy smokes, it is 4:30, so let's see here. I'm gonna bring us back together, and I'm going to go ahead. We do have our next vendor, not the one that was after you, but the one after them. So I will go ahead and bid you adieu this afternoon. But before I let you go, is there anything that you would like to say to our audience out there at home?
The best thing I can think of is for anyone that's having any issues or wanting to actually start up archery themselves. They don't know where to begin. Just, if not me, contact your local pro shop and just talk to someone. If it feels right, if it feels like they're knowledgeable, not trying to sell you something, listen to what they're saying. More than anything, we want to get education, archery education out there. I mean, we like to make money because obviously I like to eat, but we want to make sure that you're comfortable choosing the archery tackle that's right for you. So if you can't find anyone, give me a call. My phone number and emails posted all over Instagram and Facebook and the website, anywhere.
Easy to find you. It is also your information in the low bar of this show, so you guys can come back to it at any point because the shows stay up after we're done, so you can always click on that to find the information. So thank you so much for being on the show today. Just really incredible work and very knowledgeable about it. So thank you for sharing everything with us.
Yeah, it's a great COVID quarantine friendly project. So if anyone ever wants to take up that too.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well,
you're stuck at home, get started in archery.
Well, Happy New Year to you, and I hope you
had, as well.
Yes, I hope you had a good one. So have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, you guys. Well, we have to apparently skip our next vendor, but I do see Vanguard down here in the background, so I'm gonna pull you in. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good this evening. Doing good.
It looks like you've still got the like myself festivities going on behind you there.
Yeah, for Halloween, Christmas, etc. I have my Alphonse on a stand here in the corner, and he's always being decorated for whatever we're doing at the time, whether it's Halloween or whether it's Hogwarts, or usually it's Christmas, Halloween that we usually decorate them for.
That's amazing. I love that.
Every once in a while, when you're walking through the house, you notice he's just looming in the corner as if like a stranger's in your house. But you're like, oh yeah, it's just a giant suit of armor in the background.
That would probably scare the bejeebus out of me on a regular basis. I mean, I have a coat rack, and sometimes when I see it out the door way all the way, and I'm like, in the middle of the night, right? When you just get up and then you're like, oh my gosh, who's standing there? So that's
the only time it caught me off guard actually was when I was in my living room to the this way over here, and I saw his reflection in the turned off TV. That was the only time first thing I was like, oh, yeah, we're okay.
Well, please, if you will, introduce yourself to our audience here and tell us who you are, where you're from, give your shout outs, and let's see your stuff. I'm going to give you the screen here so that
we'll do.
Yeah.
My name is Leon Vanguard of Vanguard Smithing. I started blacksmithing and doing stuff with power tools and hand tools and stuff in 2009. I talked with my buddy Iron Man. He taught me how to make basic armor, and he taught me around 30 hours worth of training. Then it's literally just hundreds upon hundreds of hours of trial and error in the shop. I found out that working with certain steels while you're not using a torch is murder and a nightmare. So I now use thinner gauge steels when I'm not using heat. But I got really into liking to using aluminum for a lot of the armor because as far as for care of use for both myself and other people that like to use it, it doesn't rust. People think aluminum is really weak, and because they more or less think of tin cans.
Right.
But I use really heavy gauge aluminum so that you can literally hit this with the hammer. You hit the hammer, it resists, because after a while, because of the chemistry of aluminum, the more you hit it, the harder it gets. So when people pick up my stuff at cons, they go, wow, is this stainless steel? And I'm like, no, that's aluminum. They go, but I can't bend it. I'm like, yeah, that's because it's A, really thick, and B, chemically and crystalline structure-wise, actually hardened material now. And when you add striations like this on one of my more popular pieces, let's see if we get this without all the glare. When you add these striations in, you're actually adding supports, just mechanical supports as well in there. So you can hit this with a rattan stick and it won't bend. You can hit it with a bow can, even like a wooden sword, as hard as you can, and it might leave a dent slightly on there, but it will not actually bend and it will actually protect your arm. Wow. So it's a nice middle ground between really strong, really high quality gear, but also you don't have to worry about it rusting, oiling it, and over time it just looks better versus it, we're having to worry about it aging improperly.
Is it lighter weight than?
Oh yes. I always akin to aluminum weighing about twice as much as cardboard. To give you an example, this suit of armor behind me is made out of 0.06 inch aluminum, or 0.04, I think, actually. And now working 0.06 inch. It's a really good thickness. But that suit is 6'5", and it only weighs around 38 pounds.
Holy shit.
I have a trench coat with half the material that weighs 45 pounds, and that's made out of steel. So you're definitely looking at a much less burden of weight.
Definitely. Well, wow. I could pick that guy up and carry him off.
It's interesting. You can fit the entire suit of armor, except for the head, inside of the body kit. Let's see if we can get the legs.
Did you make that?
Yes, that was made with me and my buddy Sean. He was sat there as my model for me to build it around, and B, he helped me grind and polish the edges. But it took, between the two of us, me 400 hours and him 200 hours of work. If I did it again, I could probably do it in around 250 hours or less.
Because you just your skills have.
This was a learning project, definitely. I not done anything near this scale when I did this project. And kind of the reason why I started a shop in the first place was because power tools are expensive, or any tools are expensive. I have 30 hammers, 40 pairs of, not 40 pairs. I have around 30 hammers. I have 15 hammers, eight pairs of tongs, and just that alone is already, you're looking at $400 to $600 just small hand tools. And then you're looking at your bigger end power tools like your belt sanders. The one I built from scratch would cost on the market around $1,500. But I built it for around 400.
That
One of the things you learn really early on as a blacksmith is you have to know what tools you can fabricate and what tools you have to go out and buy. But if you buy all your tools and don't make any tools, you're either rich or broke.
So I'm curious if you will. I don't know if you have more that's right there that you're going to show us. But
yes, I do actually. Yeah.
What are so many hammers though? Like what do you need so many of a single tool type for?
Well, I have several. You have several hammers that do certain things. One, I have a brass non-marring hammer. It's a sledgehammer with a very smooth surface on it. If you want to, I can run down and grab it real quick. Just my shop is far from the Wi-Fi. But you have a brass non-marring hammer, which is good for hammering the really heavy on aluminum without ever, since it's bringing out of brass, it won't tear or it's less likely to mar as you're hammering a lot. I have a 2.5 pound sledgehammer. I have a 3 pound sledgehammer, then a 4 pound sledgehammer. Those ones are mainly used for hot steel. Back in 2017, my mentor wanted me to go on Forged and Fire with him. So I told him I make armor. I don't make knives or swords. He goes, well, I taught you in 3 days how to do armor, and you have all the hammer control and chemistry down there. I just need you to know if you're on board with it. So when I started doing knives and knife making, this is one that's going to be going out soon here.
That is, can we unsheath it?
Yeah, I have to repolish it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna work on it.
I was literally, so I just saw, man, that is shiny. I love it. On your Facebook there, you also have that little video of you sword chopping that water bottle.
Oh yeah, for whatever reasons, people that like knives and swords hate water bottles. So whenever I'm done with a major project, I go out and buy water bottles and just give people what they want, which is apparently chopping water bottles in half without them falling over, which is pretty fun to do, actually.
I kind of want to show one of these. Can I show it?
Go ahead.
As I was like, oh, what? This is super awesome. Okay, hold on. Let me get to it really quick. And
we'll do.
This was pretty cool. Let's see. I think that this is what I'm looking for. Okay, and now full screen. I don't have the sound turned on, but can you?
Or there's no. I was actually going to be planning to put, and there's actually almost no sound going on at all. Anyway, so don't worry.
So here we go. This is this is cool. You made that, right?
Yeah, that was made. That was mostly hammer forged using like you'll see in a second here, the medial ridge on there. Most of that was not ground. Most of that was actually hammered in place, which I was really happy with how straight it looked. It's not obviously perfectly straight, but that's how straight I can get with a hammer without ever correcting it, really.
Look at that.
That is a walnut handle with brass fittings. It is a full tang. It goes all the way down to that last piece, which is a piece of welded on screw to help hold that pommel on there.
Holy smokes.
It's very well balanced. I'm going to be posting another video later. It's balanced just a little ahead of the guard, and it's very comfortable. And it's actually one of my first swords. People are always like, why do you make more swords? I'm like, well, swords are honestly expensive knives no one can use and no one wants to buy. So I make a lot of kitchen knives, some everyday carries, and my day job is I build and weld high-end industrial gates and stuff for Hollywood area, for Bel Air, for Malibu. So I come home exhausted. So when I want to make stuff, it's usually already bought, already purchased. Like what's fun is my my entire Etsy page and my Instagram. One of my highest sellers is this right here, the Dragon Bone Vambrace. Some of these smoother crest Vambraces. This one right here is the Genos Vambrace. But what's funny is over the years, my Etsy page, I haven't really gotten much more content on there because I'm either trying to work on my own stuff in the shop. But what's fun is I have things that people can buy. But a lot of the times, most of my orders are actually custom commissions. People look at that in the background and they can't afford it, but it gives them an idea of the quality and the scale I can do. And they go, well, can you make this? So I find a lot of the times that people come to my shop for custom orders, and I like doing that more because for me, custom orders give me the chance to A, learn a new skill, B, have more in my repertoire,
Yes.
and it makes it more fun because I can mass scale and mass build things, but I find more that I like to work on individual projects and get a custom piece going. Like that sword, I personally probably would never have made that sword you just saw, but a client wanted it, so I got paid to be able to do it.
Right.
It was great. So I had fun. I didn't lose money, and I was able to buy more stuff at the shop. So it's my shop has always been not a way to get rich, but as a way to constantly keep buying stuff for the shop.
To perpetuate your art and perhaps have it
without going into heavy debt.
Right. Well, so let's see what else you have here today then.
Let's see what else we have here. This is a piece I'm not sure if I posted it up on there yet, but I'll probably have to renew the link maybe. This was a fun shoulder kind of another example of wanting to have fun in the shop versus making the same thing over and over again. This right here was hammered with one of my favorite hammers and nothing but a stake underneath it. So it's called raising. You have a stake underneath it, and you very carefully kind of guessing where the stake is by feel, and you hammer these ridges in place. So if I were to submerge this into a bowl of tar pitch and do actual chasing repose, I could probably get this much cleaner and much more deep. But since this is all done freehand, it's nothing but a hammer and a stake.
Wow.
And that was just another example of having more fun with design work. This was just me going nuts. And it's funny because it's a shoulder piece, but it also can be like a horse, a horse head piece for the front end of a horse. But on the shoulder itself, let's get the glare off it. On the shoulder itself,
that is
when it contours up and around.
Yep.
And
very pretty.
One of my more popular shoulder pieces, I did mirroring the Romeo and Juliet with DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, ha! Check that.
And this was actually used in the there was a production a while back for Cirque du Soleil with they did a production of all of Baz Luhrmann's work, which Baz Luhrmann directed that film. And Cirque du Soleil was looking for different people to do that piece, and they saw I already had it up on my website.
Nice. And
so that was actually used in the Cirque du Soleil performance of the Baz Luhrmann production.
That is nice. Super cool.
And I also got to do some work on Jumanji, the new one, not the first remake. I did some of the leather armor in that with. What was it?
Oh, Jumanji. That's what we yelled at New Year's when we did the countdown and screamed Jumanji. So
yeah, I did some custom work for the second production via another studio called Alex in Wonderland. That was fun. What else do I have over here? Oh, this was my wife wanted a crazy dagger, and this is one of the fun things is a lot of my knives aren't listed because by the time I get one done, they're usually spoken for. Because for me, they take around 20 or 30 hours to get done throughout basically about anywhere from a week to 3 weeks, depending on how fast I'm making them. This one right here was really fun.
I like how it's so symmetrical.
And this is a scary letter opener because let's see if I have a letter here. But here's an example of here's a package. The problem is this is not a good letter opener because you're sitting out here with a razor blade. I mean, if you slip, if you put any pressure down at all, you're gonna slide through it. So cutting your hand is really a problem. So this is not a good letter opener, although it would do the job.
I like it. I like that sheath that it's in too. It kind of looks like olive wood or something, maybe.
Actually, this right here, I think it was white maple.
Oh yeah.
I slotted it with a groove in the middle there.
Yeah.
And then I custom made these metal brackets, hand twisted steel.
Yeah.
Have it heated up in the forge. I drilled this slot here for the guard, but then when I actually went to so I drilled it, but once I had it drilled, I was like, I'm not gonna sit there with a file for an hour and a half. So after I drilled it, I heated it back up, and actually drifted the hole to make it a little bit easier near the end. I've also gotten into doing some Harry Potter ones, hand turning it on the belt sander. And this is done with mahogany. Let's see, I'm oppositing the camera here, right?
Brown is mahogany, black is ebony.
Actually, no. I was experimenting with it, and it's all mahogany. What I did was, similar to what I do with my knives when I'm annealing the handles, I wrapped this part in a wet rag, and I actually torched this entire section.
Yep.
So it's one piece of mahogany with a burnt handle, and then sealed with some tung oil.
Nice.
And another example, if honestly, if I had any kind of either manual or either a manual or an actual powered lathe, it'd be much easier to make these. But I've been making these literally by hand and with a belt sander.
Oh wow!
I have a piece about 1 inch mahogany I start with, and I literally sit on the belt sander like this and go.
That is such a slow way to do.
Oh, I know. But for me, it wasn't more like trying to mass produce them quickly. It was I can go to the shop, and in about an hour, I can come out with a nice piece that can be happy for the day.
Actually, might I say something about that? So, I actually, in my own store, I sell handmade magic wands, which is why kind of why I'm familiar with the woods. But I'm looking at this and I'm watching you hold it up, and that piece of wood looks like it must be 18 or 19 inches long. It doesn't. And I guess I just want to say it's very cool that is the thing, because most people don't realize this is. I'm going to bring us back together. Otherwise, I'm just like the voice that's disembodied.
Embodied voice.
I think it's actually quite cool that you do that, because most people don't realize when they buy a wand, and I have one of mine. Wait, this is my personal wand. But when they buy a wand, the proper way to measure it is this, a cubit, if you will, right? From
see how mine is. Yeah, that's actually the exact length of my arm.
Right, because when you then hold it here in the grip, this length, right? The length of your shaft is the length basically from your wrist. This becomes the fulcrum, and now it is evenly weighted. Like it's the extension of your arm is nice and even, as opposed to having a straw length wand where you're like pew 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 pew, right? Yeah. It's more like a hair stick. And the thing is that that's great for women, but men, I have found, have a very difficult time. I get a lot of requests for people wanting magic wands the length that you make them, because it's so hard to find that. And if you get a dude who's 6 feet tall or more, the length of his arm is going to be like that. And I'm like, wow, that's just so cool. I don't think I've actually ever seen somebody make magic wands at that length, and so that's like quite a selling point for you, I think.
And it's also fun because I now have a knife background, right? And there's a problem within a lot of the universes of where wands are used, where this happens. Okay. And they lose their wand quite easily. So it's not traditional, I'm not sure, because I haven't seen much of them that do this, but all of my handles are made with a certain eye to grip instead of finesse, like that one right there.
Yep.
And this one right here.
Ooh,
you can see that they actually have more of a knife handle style grip.
Yes, and so your fingers can roll around that quite nicely.
So when you hold on to it, you notice that you can actually grip it without someone just flinging it out of your hand. What's another fun piece I have over here? Another piece that I have a lot of are my leather guards.
And what are these? Are they forearm guards? Is that what that?
Yeah, forearm guards. Yeah.
Okay.
I like doing forearms a lot more than I like doing shin guards. Shin guards are just massive massive arm guards that are so much harder to make, especially when you're making them in metal. And pricing them is always difficult because how much mass there is. Where is my leather one that I had on the table here a minute ago? I do a lot of archery guards, but I'm not seeing the archery guard I brought up here today. Here's what I made. It's not. Where are they? Sorry, I brought everything upstairs and now I can't find anything.
It's a Murphy's Law sort of thing. It's okay.
Yeah. This was a much simpler one I made for my wife a while ago. But in my shop, I make a lot of really simple arm guards, leather arm guards for archery, because they're fun to make, but they're also fun to wear. Guards like this on your arm, you can wear comfortably underneath a sweater or just out in the sun all day. I used to wear these every day just for fun. And when you're blacksmithing, it's nice to have an arm guard on. In case you don't always want to wear a glove, but you want to make sure your wrist is protected if something goes wrong or flicks around.
Right.
Another example of things that I make but aren't really listed usually because of how much work they take. Here's a quiver I built a few years ago.
Ooh, that is pretty.
And recently modified by doing some hand engraving.
Wow. That is super pretty.
And that's done with just a hammer or chisel, and obviously the leather is done via. I'm always a big fan of the saddle stitch. It's the only stitch I really use because it's the only one that really matters.
What does the top of that look like? Can I see like where the arrows go in?
The top?
Yeah.
Yes. So the lip is wrapped around.
Gotcha.
The lip is folded over onto itself to give it a nice hard rim.
Yeah. Man, that's pretty. Pretty. I like your little metal embellishments on it as well.
Oh yeah, I love metal, and then I want my wife's a really good artist as well, and I did some leather work on this, getting it prepped for her, and then she went through and did all the. Our favorite author is Brandon Sanderson. This is from a book, Way of Kings, and then she did some really beautiful leather work for me.
A very popular story of his.
There we go. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can do it.
And again, the saddle stitch is the only stitch you should ever use. I just love my
real stitches.
So yeah, my passion is working with materials that will last. I like leather, metal, and wood. Not a big fan of foam or warbler because warbler, if you have it in your car, it'll melt. And foam, I respect people who can do foam armor and foam accents.
Yeah.
But I don't like the durability of it overall, and I can't ever get the paint right. So I always like to prefer metal and leather because by the time you're done with metal and leather, I once told a cosplayer who was a really amazing foam cosplayer. I said, "You know why I like metal?" He goes, "Why?" I went, "Where's my trench coat in my shop right now?" He goes, "I don't see it." I went, "It's under that box of steel rivets, underneath a box of more stuff." And I know once I'm done, I can take that 40 pounds of material off, shake the dust out of it, and throw it on. Like I just like that idea that no matter what I do to it, it's gonna last.
I'm pretty sure that the foam and warbler types of armor and whatnot, like they're kind of their own category. You don't do the same type of fighting with them.
Oh, yeah.
You don't do the same type of everything. So I mean that makes sense, right? You work with these hardened materials. So it is, wow, it is 5 o'clock. I super got into that. Is there anything that you would like to say to everybody before we let you go today?
Just if you have any questions about what you need to, one of my biggest things is in-class teaching in my shop costs money and my materials cost money. But on my YouTube channel, on my Instagram, if you have any questions at all, a lot of people have my biggest questions online actually has been about annealing aluminum and copper. It's funny enough, but any questions about how to get entering into doing armor, what tools you need, what tools you should spend money on, what tools you shouldn't spend money on, and even just basic questions, I'm always available either on Instagram, Facebook, or my YouTube channel to have questions brought to me. I love helping people learn what they need because often a lot of the times you just don't know where to start, and with and just knowing what tools you should bother getting, what tools you shouldn't get is the hardest part.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I'm just kind of like cruising through your website.
That's my lovely wife.
Oh, well, hello, lovely wife. I mean, not.
That's one of my favorite cosplays nowadays. That one, it's a Moomin Rider. That's made out of copper and leather.
Wow, that's cool. All of this stuff is so cool. And I was checking out, oh man, that's an awesome outfit. Love it. I was checking out your YouTube also really quick. Let me see here. It's just like, everybody go over to the YouTube channels and give the subscribes. I'm going to just show everybody what it looks like. Yes, right here. Here it is. I, as you can see, have already given my subscription to your YouTube. So, so yeah, go check it out. And I guess with that said, that pretty much brings us to the end of today's show, first show of the year. You guys, if you're watching, please hit the like and subscribe button. And also, so we're on Sunday. That means we will be back with you here on Wednesday for Fae News, and again on Friday for our first author reads of the year as well. So we're also planning to do things for Imbolc and Valentine's Day next month. We haven't announced them yet, but they are in the works. So stay tuned. And I know everybody hates Valentine's Day, but we're going to try to make fun of. We're going to try to make it fun anyway. So, but with that said, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday, and we're glad to be back with you. Have a good evening. Yeah.
Have a good evening. Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.